day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. So we're back again with another Tower of God video, and this time we in Season 2 episode 11, climbing up to episode 20. So let's start today's walk up the tower. So this one here actually starts with them in the first part of the game, and basically we get the rules of the game explained. So the challenge is to get 7 teammates and 6 rooms before Viol takes over Miss Yuan's room. And basically starting now, you may begin making teams with the remotes given. You may either protect or steal rooms. You can open and close the door of your room, and with the personal connector at the bottom you can make teammates or steal rooms. So basically they explain the rules. So basically they have to connect their hub to another remote and press the blue button to be teammates. If you press the red button, you will steal the room from the regulars. If you don't trust someone, you shouldn't open your door or give them your remote. The first team to gather 7 teammates and 6 rooms using their remotes passes, but be careful, you can only use your own remote, and there must be at least one connector in the remote at all times. You cannot remove the remote from the room. There must be at least one regular in each room, and one of the 6 rooms must be on the same floor as Miss Yuan. So in the if the number of regular falls below 7, Jovial Grace wins, and if Jovial Grace comes down to Mule and steals a connector from him and gets Miss Yuan's room, Viol wins. So basically that's how the test is going to work. So Wagner thinks this is quite complicated, and the two of them are busy thinking to each other they should just sit in the room, and that is the best plan that they have. And then we get to the room with Miseng and Goaseng, and basically she expresses that the easiest way is for her to go out and get teammates, and that Miseng should be in the room and hold down the fort. So basically the way this game works is, since they need 6 rooms, even though they're going to have 7 teammates, they need to have one person in each room and one person walking around. Now the key to this is they have to have 5 rooms before they go for Yuan, and once they go for Yuan, whoever goes for Yuan has to get her to join in with them, and that will make a 7-man team with that room being given as well. So only one person can actually move around, and they have to steal 3 rooms, because 6 people count for 3 rooms, Yuan counts for 1, that's 4 rooms. If you count that all together, from the 6 they have 4. They have to steal another, that will make it 5. That means that from the rooms, only 2 rooms can have 2 people, and 1 person has to walk around, so only 1 room has 2 people. Then when they steal the 6th room, there is only 1 person in each room, 1 person walking around, and the last person in the last room. 2 of them could actually walk around, but it's a lot more complicated to actually explain it that way, because that's when they have the full 8-man team, when they only have 7 as the allotment. So the last room is when they reach Yuan's room. So Goaseng moves out, and she starts heading off to get all the other contestants together to get the rooms that she needs, and to steal the rooms that they need as well, because they have to steal 2 rooms. And she moves on, and basically we see Prince and the Devil's Right Arm. They talk to each other with their whole little crazy scheme, and basically he says that the Devil's Right Arm should do his job and look after the room, close his eyes, and he opens the door and leaves it wide open. After this we see Yuan is trying to stop Balm from leaving, and basically she tries to stop him, and Yuan tries to convince him that he should take team members because everybody will end up happy that way. And finally, Bam tells Yuan to give him the remote. And Yuan tries to power up and use her power against her. And she says she'll use her power to stop him. And she explains that her flames can't be controlled. Even the rankers in her family have a hard time stopping it. She attacks Bam with the fire and he walks right through using reverse flow control. And he basically just walks right through. So that's how episode 11 goes. We now get into episode 12 where things are about to start heating up quite a bit. Right, so we get the whole thing where Bam tells Yuan she must fail, and he walks right past her. And at this point we see Prince runs in and tries to attack Bam, and he closes the Prince actually gets a hold of the remote and he closes the door, and then he basically starts seeing who will win between him and Bam. As he starts fighting, he attacks the remote and there's a big fight in the room. And after the fight is over, we see Bam walking away effortlessly. Although Jovial Grace might be a better name for him, JVG, I'm not sure. I'll just say Viol from now on when I'm referring to him. I don't really like calling him Bam because I suspect that Bam might be Rachel's deception on him. Then we see Goaseng listening to the yogurt lady, or the lady who was trying to take advantage of her, knocking on the door saying she wants to be friends with her, and basically says Goaseng said that she mustn't open the door, so she's not going to open the door for anyone. And the lady basically screams that someone is coming, and we're saying things that she should hold on and wait with the remote. Then we see Arc Raptor and Horiang have their talk about who they should go and who should protect the room. And basically they try to outwit each other to see who has more connection to everybody. And Arc Raptor basically says that Horiang should go because he likes glasses, and Horiang tells Arc Raptor he should go because he wants to care for Missing, because he cares about the child, because it feels like it's the right thing to do. And basically they decide to sit there and see who's more stupid and see who will leave. Eventually we see that Arc Raptor leaves and he goes to the room where Missing is to check up on her and see where Glasses is. So he starts banging on the door and he starts asking where they are, and eventually we finally see Missing responds to Arc Raptor saying that he must stop it because he's been hitting on the door, and we see that Arc Raptor gets angry and he says, why didn't you respond, you should have this stuff. And we see Missing said that Arc Raptor is scaring her, and we see that she can't open the door because of the whole story, and we get the whole thing. And basically Missing says that he wouldn't even open for the yogurt lady, and she won't open for him because he's worse. And basically we get the whole story about what's going on between the two. So finally Arc Raptor says he's going to go back, and then we see that Missing says please don't go away, and so he's just sitting at the door because she won't let him in. And we see the reason why she left, because the parents told her to go up the tower. And we see that Arc Raptor also has his little flesh of his kid. It's the only flesh that we get. It's one of the reasons why we suspect she's from one of the great families like the Arya family or one of those crazy families. And we see that Missing basically starts forcing a game on Arc Raptor where they do the word association game, and we see it's eel, liar, relay, yogurt. Now this here can be seen as something important. Eel, liar, relay, yogurt. if you're thinking about it, eel refers to where this here starts with the white steel, eel, and balm. Lyre refers to Rachel. Relay is everything that happens on the first floor, and yogurt is the whole end where they were eating with each other. Then we see trauma, apple, elephant, tower. Now, trauma is what is going to happen to the team when it comes to the workshop and the Hell Train arc. Apple, we know who Apple is in the future. Elephant, I'm not sure what that's talking about. Maybe the elephant in the room, referring to the torn tower. And then we see the whole word rescue. So they could have been outlining everything all the way to the point of the workshop battle at this point. It depends on how far you see it. And then we see we see the lady come back to basically say she was going to take advantage and steal the room from the kid. At which point Arc Raptor takes on a fight with her, and he chops off her fingers because she tries to attack him with the fire. And that is how it goes, and basically it tells her to stop screaming, she'll scare the kid, and basically that's how it goes. He ties her up. Then we see Rap Devil is left in his room, and finally someone opens the door over there. That is the end of episode 13. So let's move on to the next episode. I want to try and get a little bit faster. I'm kind of going too in detail at this point, outlining a lot of those things which are hidden. Then we see Goaseng reach the room where Wagnan is in, and he sees that their whole idea was to hide in the room, and basically they get a big shouting too, and Goaseng pulls out a connector and gives it to Wagnan, and basically gives him a chance to either kick them out, steal their room, or to team up with them. And basically they all talk there, and they sit and they're having a conversation. After that, there we see Prince is running after Balm because he got beaten and now he wants to fight him again. Then we see Lurker rush in, and he says, "What's the rush?" And Lurker says he dropped by the room, and Rep Devil is dead. And basically they're wondering what's going on, and then we see the game continues with Arc Raptor and Miseng. And this is also something really important. We see the words are Ghost, Trumpet, Tartarus, Switch, Hen, Natural, Lost, Tetrix. This could refer to the Hell Train, where the ghost is basically Hakin, whatever name you want to call him, White, right? And Trumpet, Tartarus, that's the whole idea of the test that they go through, and Tartarus is the resurrection of the Slayer. The switch at the end where they switch on at the station, and basically all this here refers to what's going to happen up on the next stage of the tower. Then we see Wagnan and Arc Raptor have their words with each other, and they're busy fighting outside the door. At which point they see Viol Grace is walking by, and they start screaming to have Miseng open the door for them, and basically they laugh at the fact that the two of them were cowards because they were that terrified of Viol. And then we see that they all agree that they will all team up and they're going to get everything done. Then we see Lurker with Prince in his room, and we see that Rap Devil is basically taken out. We see that Balm heads off into the man's bath where he is finally taking on Mule Love. So that is the end of episode 14, and we're on to episode 15. We see Mule Love, and Mule Love explains his little challenge. So he is going to challenge Balm, and the reason why he's trying to stop him is because he knows what Karaka did when he was being noticed as the newest Slayer candidate, and the fact that he used to do specific tasks like take a test and make sure that only one particular regular would pass, or make sure everybody would fail except for one. Basically, it mocked the rules of the tower. So Mule says if you can't respect the rules, he can't respect him either, Mr. Viol. And basically they end up taking on the challenge. So the challenge is you get 3 chances. Mule will pitch the connector. If the connector is run through and caught by the gloves, then it's over. And if Bomb catches it, then Bomb wins. So it's pretty much a baseball pitch match, and that's how it's going to go. And you ask him, do you still want to take the test? Because if you fail 3 times, you fail. End of story for you. And basically, Mule throws the first one, and Bomb uses reverse flow control, and he stops it. At which point, Mule is absolutely shocked, and he realizes he's going to have to interfere. And finally he says the first pitch is a foul. So because it's a foul, that means they're going to get to go through it again. So at this point we see Lurker and Prince in the room, and they're busy talking through what's going on inside there. And this is quite important because we find out at this point that Prince is about to get backstabbed. We see that Prince really wants to attack Viol, and basically we see the rest of the guys, the sneaky guys who Lurker set up, show up, and basically they say they have a way to catch Viol and that it's a really good idea. And we see that it goes back to the fight with Bomb and Mule basically is expressing that he was surprised. And they fire the second pitch, at which point Mule realizes that he's going to try and use his reverse flow control. At which point Mule starts charging Bomb to get it out of his hand, and then Mule realizes that Bomb is actually aiming for him. And we see that everybody is planning out what they're doing. So we see that Prince and his criminals are planning out their actions and how they're going to take down Bomb. And basically they figure out their own plan, and that it's just really a little lame plan, and that is how episode 15 ends. And we're actually going to get a lot of interesting things happening right here, because this is also another hint of how powerful Bomb truly is as well. So we get Wagnan and Misang sitting in the room, and basically the two decide that Arc Raptor and Goaseng would run around. We see that they talk with Naya in the other room, and that the Foilhead and Goaseng will go around and capture the other room and make the last member of their team. So we see that the whole problem is that Bomb has the reverse flow control, and we see this whole crazy thing with these scammers. They said that they're gonna give him a Bong Bong drink. Now, Bong Bong is representative of what's going to come in the future with the whole situation. We see that Quant is on the label of this whole drink, and there is a reason behind that. And basically they explain if they drink that Bong Bong juice, Bomb won't be able to use reverse flow control on them. And Prince thinks, what if they're lying? Then what if they put something in the drink? So he thinks there must be someone he can test out this drink on, and he decides he's gonna go up to Yuan. We then see Mule got stopped by reverse flow control, and he got hit by Bomb. And we see that Mule starts fighting Bomb, and basically Mule actually expresses his shock that he stopped a Rancor, and that he can use 2 moves and freeze a Rancor. He must surely be a really powerful Slayer nominee, such overwhelming talent. And as he explains, but it's not enough to fight with the Rancor, at which point Mule starts to fight Bomb. And actually this here gets a little bit crazy, because Bomb actually manages to stop some of his attacks, and actually he gets hit with one of Mule's unstoppable attack, and that's Breaking Ball, which launches Bomb back into a wall. And at that point we see that Bomb receives his first strike, and that is how it's going against this ranker. We then get the end of episode 16. Now you should understand why this is crazy. This ranker has no limitations put on him. He doesn't have his Shinsu pulled down. He can go full out. He can use all his assaults and techniques. There isn't anything like what they had against Quant. If Quant was facing Bomb right now, he would be dead, because the moment he pulled that reverse flow and attacked him, Quant would have been without his major source of power. And we see you we see Yuan sitting in a room and thinking about how utterly useless she was against Bomb. Finally, we see Prince arrive there, and he offers the Bong Bong juice to Yuan, and he says that he still wants some of it afterwards, and he's going to see how it works, at which point she falls asleep instantly, and she says something's wrong, there's something in her body. And we see the others have tricked Prince, and they basically say that they're actually gonna make her play host to a parasite for them, and that is one of their team members. And basically they say if Prince really wants to kill them, he's really going to have to kill her first. And we see the whole fight unfold from there. Then we go all the way back to Bomb and Mule, and we see that they basically getting ready for their fight. We find out that Mule's parents were killed by a member of Fug, and when he came into the tower to get revenge, that's the whole story on that part. Then we see him ask what made Bomb join Fug. Is it for revenge? And he says there's someone he has to meet up there, and he won't know whether he wants to kill her or get revenge till he meets her. So Mule says this is the last shot. If you don't catch it this time, you fail, no regrets. Nod, and basically this is the third pitch, and everything is getting ready. So Mule jumps up and he's moving with his attack of the connector, at which point Bomb copies his technique instantly with the blue shield that he flies on. And we see Bomb copying ranker techniques quite easily. We see them fighting over the connector, and we see Mule say he's copying his techniques, and every technique he uses he ends up copying it, at which point Bomb copies his Breaking Ball, and Mule says he won't be able to copy that technique, and he gets hit with it, and he says he's crazy. And it is really crazy, because this is a tie between a ranker and a regular. At which point we switch back to Yuan and Prince is running for his life as Yuan has gone crazy and is attacking. He finally arrives back at his room, and he finds his hidden lighthouse to pull out his remote. As he pulls out his remote, he sees that Rap Devil isn't dead, and he says there is the remote, and that is where episode 17 ends. We're off to episode 19. You gotta be kidding me, I've done it again, I've overshot. So we then see Rap Devil basically says that they betraying him, and this is a plan between Lurker and himself to get Prince out of their team. And basically they find out that Lurker is actually far worse than they thought of, and we see him with Naya at that point. And we see Arc Raptor basically using his hostage to go and capture the room from the lady who basically sabotaged them. They steal the room from them, and there they go, they're done. They now have 5 rooms. All they need is the final one, and they're done with all of this. Then we see Wagner contact Naya, and we see that Lurker response, and he says the traitor Naya is safe here. And then we see Lurker is speaking, and Lurker says everything that he wants to, and that Naya betrayed them. And we see Naya breaks down, and she says that she lied to him, and we get the whole story. And basically they explain how they find out where they are each time, because they have deals with the restaurants. So every time a regular changes addresses, that's how they track them down so quickly. And basically Lurker explains the trap that they set, and that Naya basically tricked him, and that's how things are gonna go. And we find out the story from Naya, that she was abandoned by a team and everything was stolen from her. Then he was saved by an old lady who is the owner of the restaurant, and that eventually after some time the goons from the loan company kept breaking her store apart and forcing her to pay, and they made her work for them, and that he's here to get the stuff back from her. And that's what he's actually doing, and that's why he's here, and he can't believe that he's betraying someone. And everybody is basically crying, and Wagner says that it's a good person, that he is a good person, and that he shouldn't be feeling so bad, and that he should just stop crying. Then we see Lurker say, baby is crying together, and he's like, and he forgot to tell Naya that the granny's debt isn't paid off. And we see that Naya was betrayed really badly as well. All she did was betray her teammates for nothing. She's not even going to get he is not going to get the debt release that he has with the company. And then we see Lurker attack Naya, and we get the worst sound ever, where we get the stabbing, and we hear the screaming from Naya as Lurker keeps stabbing and stabbing until finally Naya dies. And finally at the end of that, we hear Lurker say, finally he died. It took longer than I thought, my hands got dirty. And we see Wagner says he's coming to kill Lurker. And that is where episode 18 ends. Should I say we were on 19? So I guess I made a mistake. So we then get the whole thing with Yuan on their side, and how they have so many rooms, and now with the stolen room they have 4, and they have all their teammates. And then we see Wagner gets really angry, and he's like, he is running over to go get someone worse. Basically, he runs off, and they realize all they need is Prince's room to win, and they win. So they come up with a plan eventually, when we see the devil, a rap devil, go and he takes on Prince, and basically he gets taken down quite easily by Rap Devil, who says this is a real fight, we're not playing a game, and basically says hand over the remote before you die. So basically Uriang says basically they should abandon their room and go save that punk prince. That's the only chance they have of winning. There's no chance of winning if they just stay here and protect their rooms. And basically say that he can't go alone. And basically Huriang says he must have gone to find Viol, because people eventually look for the devil when they are turned away by their god. If Viol comes back and he can save Prince, the results might be different. So the fight goes on, and we get back to Balm vs. Mule Love, and Mule replies he's a monster. Even for a ranker like him, it took decades to learn the skills that he's using, like I said previously, and basically he's copying it after one move. His strength and skill are still unrefined, but he's still a monster. If he makes it up the tower, how far will he advance? If he can use his power for good, how much will he be able to achieve? And basically the fight continues, at which point reverse flow control is used on Balm. And Mule basically says game over, and that he doesn't want to fail him. It would be a waste of his talent. Give up Fug and accept your teammates, then you let him pass. Use your powers for good. And at this point we get Wagner entering in, and he throws a Shinsu bomb at the Ranker, and he steals the connector away from Mule Love, and basically he says don't move, and basically explains that there's a bad guy up there, and it's not the good guys who beat the bad guy, but the worst guy, and you're the most evil guy in this tower, so please come with me and teach that guy a lesson. Then he'll give him the connector. And that is how episode 19 ends. Let's get to episode 20. I know this is becoming a real crazy long section, but this is really important before we get to the workshop battle, where things are going to start speeding up as we go through the next 10 after this arc is over. We see Mule asking what in the world is going on, and we see that Wagner screams out that someone died during this exam, and we see his whole story about how he lost all of his friends on this floor. And we see his whole story, and basically we see Mule looking over him, and he's feeling some sort of disheartened. And basically Wagner throws the connector up to Viol, and he says, let's go Viol, I lost. And basically we see forgetting a name, guide. Okay, the guide is watching over this entire test, because this is actually being further manipulated in other ways. There's a lot more going on. We get back to the room where Prince is getting beaten up by Rap Devil, and then we get a knocking on the door where Prince is, and basically we see the whole story where we see Lurker walk in, and basically he starts going over and holding on to Yuan, who's being possessed, and he says that Prince doesn't deserve all the best servers, and that all of his servants are now his, and that Rap Devil should just finish him off. And he says okay, and that's gonna be bye for him. At which point Huryang walks in, and he takes out the muscle that's protecting Lurker. Lurker runs, with Yuan's flames being used to push him back. At which point we see that Lurker falls. Not Lurker, sorry. At which point we see Viol shows up, and he attacks Yua, and he pulls the parasite out of her mouth. And once he pulls out the parasite, he kills the parasite instantly, and Lurker is looking scared at that, and he starts running for his life. At which point we see that Prince opens the door in his room, and Huryang walks in, and we see that there's a fight between Huryang and Rap Devil, and another fight that's about to happen with Viol vs Lurker. And basically at that point we see Horiang express to Rap Devil, have you ever seen a devil? I'll show you the living one in my right arm. At which point we see Rap Devil really looks scared. And we see Lurker trying to get into his room, screaming that they should close the door. And as they close the door, we see that bomb just bumps right through, gets into the room, and we see that Wagnan attacks Lurker straight up, punches him, gets him down, and that is where episode 20 ends. Now there is a lot that's about to happen in the next 2 episodes, but after that the story starts to mellow out quite a bit, and there's not such a massive amount of hidden details. So I don't really have a lot to explain because I've been explaining it as I go through. I've changed my format a little, but sorry about that, and I will catch you all in the next one. Have a good day.